Okay, good afternoon. So for today, we will have our lesson in English 4, which is the Jars Brought from the Village of Souls. It is a short story about an Ifugao folktale. So let's begin the story. Okay, Jars Brought from the Village of Souls, an Ifugao folktale. Okay, a long time ago, before the coming of the Spaniards, there lived a hinanggangang a man called Bangilit. He was a wealthy man, possessing 4 rice granaries and a very large house, but he was not a priest. His constant desire was to hunt in the forest. One day, Bangilit went hunting in the forest, was overtaken by night. He called his dogs, but they did not come. He made fire, cooked and ate. Then one dog came to him, and he took the lead and departed. Nearby, he found a path. The dog with him barked, and the second dog answered, and they went on. And the dog with Bangilit began to whimper and whine and to pull on the leash. So Bangilit began to run, and they went on. Suddenly, it became light all around them, and they came out of the forest into a large group of people. And the people said among themselves, "Surely Bangilit is dead." And they examined his body and asked, Where were you speared?" And Bangilit spoke and said, "I have not been speared. I went hunting and was overtaken by night, and my dog here ran ahead on our path. I followed and came here, and lo, it is light here." And they took Bangilit and went to their town, for there are many large towns there, in a dwelling place of souls. They wished to give him food, but he said, "Wait until my own food is exhausted, and then I will eat of your rice here." And they asked him, "How many days will you remain with us?" And Bangilit answered that he would remain 4 days. Then the people began to laugh, and one of them said, "Not 4 days, but 4 years here." "Huh?" cried Bangilit. "I shall never do that." "Wait until you see." "Just so," answered the other. "1 day here is the same as a year on the earth world." But Bangilit thought he was lying. Bangilit visited all the towns there. He worked in the rice fields, and they gave him 4 jars as his wages. Then his host said to him, "Return home now, for you have been here 4 days, which according to the usage of the earth world, are 4 years." "Yes," answered Bangilit, "I wish to go home now, as I am homesick for my family. You have been very good to me, for you have given me wages for my work." And the host said, "It was a gift, not wages, but a gift that I gave you." And he led the way and pointed out to Bangilit a ladder. "Go down that ladder, and in a short time you will arrive at your house," he said. Bangilit started to go down, but one of the jars struck heavily against the ladder and was broken. He slid down the trunk of the tree to the ground. The chickens were crowing, and it was just dawn. And he looked at his surroundings and exclaimed, "Why, this is my own house?" His relatives came out and said, "Who are you?" And he replied, "This is my house." They looked at him closely and cried, "Well now, is it Banggilit who has been gone these 4 years?" And they sat down and talked long together. He showed them the jars and they asked, "Where did you get those?" He answered, "I brought them from the skyward." And they were afraid and went to look for the ladder, but it was no longer there. Okay, so that is the story about jar broth to the jar. That is the story about the jar broth from the village of souls. Now, let us discuss the questions. Let us discuss the questions about the story. So we will answer this understanding the selection. Okay, so first one we have here. Where was Banggilit at first? So yeah, the first question is, where was Banggilit at first? Second, how did he go to the sky world? Third one, why did the people in sky world laugh at him? Then number 4, what gifts were given to him? Based on the story, based on the story. Again, number 4, what gifts were given to him? Then number 5, how did he return to his home? Paano daw siya nakabalik sa kanyang bahay? Based on the story, how did he return to his home? So these are the 5 questions you will answer based on the story. Now, let us go to vocabulary words, enriching your vocabulary. Okay, so you will answer the following questions, then write your answers on the lines. Okay, first question, number 1. What letter C is the loud shrill sound characteristic of a cock? What is the sound shrill sound characteristic of a cock? What do you call that sound characteristic by a cock? Sound, loud, shrill sound by a cock or the chicken or the rooster. What letter C is the sound shrill of a cock? Next, number 2. What letter D is the time when the sun rises? What do you call that word that is the time when the sun rises? What letter D? It is a 4-letter word that is the time when the sun rises. It is letter D. Next, number 3. What letter D? It means to go away. Again, what letter D? You are going to answer this. What letter D? It means to go away. Next, number 4. What letter E? It means extremely or completely tired. This word, it means extremely or completely tired. It starts with letter E. So, it means extremely or completely tired. Starting with letter E. Number 5. What letter G is a storehouse for threshed grain? Again, what letter G is the storehouse for threshed grain? Iniimbakan ng mga grains. Anong tawag daw doon? Letter G. English word, it is a storehouse for threshed grains. Letter G. Number 6. Now, what letter L is a rope for leading or restraining an animal? Again, what letter L is a rope for leading or restraining an animal? Usually, it's used for the dogs. Ginagamit ito sa mga aso. It is a rope for leading or restraining an animal. What letter L? What word yun? It starts with letter L. Number 7. What T or what letter T is the main stem of a tree apart from the limbs and the roots? Okay, what do you call that the part of the tree? It starts with letter T. It is the main stem of the tree apart from the limbs and the roots. What do you call that? Number 8. What W is a payment usually for usually of money for labor or services done. Usually it gives usually if you're having a job, it is a payment usually for money for labor or services done. What do you call that? W. Is a four letter is it a five letter words? It starts with letter W. What do you call the payment usually for money usually of money for labor or services done? Number 9. What W again is having a wealth or being very affluent? Okay, what do you call that W? Having a wealth or being very affluent. Next. Again, number 10. What W it means to make a low, whining, plaintive, or broken sound? What do you call that word? To make a low, whining, plaintive, or broken sound. So here's the 10 questions you are going to answer the vocabulary words. Based on your clues will be the letters. Okay, so that's our story about George Bro from the Village of Souls, an Ifugao folk tale.